It's 3 in the morning and you're doing it again, replaying that conversation, that moment, their face, the person who completely broke you, and somehow they're still controlling your mind. Maybe it's your ex who betrayed you, that friend who turned cruel, the toxic person who discarded you like nothing. Carl Jung discovered we don't actually think about people who hurt us. We obsess over the parts of ourselves they took with them. Your shadow self is screaming to be returned, and those obsessive thoughts about someone who hurt you, they're not weakness. They're your unconscious mind demanding you reclaim what's yours. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why you can't stop thinking about them, and more importantly, how to finally break free using shadow work that actually works. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That one person whose name makes your stomach drop. You wake up and they're the first thought. You go to sleep trying to push them out of your mind. You have entire conversations with them in your head, arguments where you finally say what you should have said, fantasies where they realize what they lost. And here's what makes it worse. You know you should be over this. They hurt you. They showed you exactly who they are. Logic says move on. Your friends tell you to let it go. You've blocked them, dated other people, thrown yourself into work, tried meditation apps, but nothing stops those intrusive memories from hijacking your mind. The most frustrating part: they're probably not thinking about you at all. They've moved on with their life while you're stuck in this mental loop. You feel pathetic for still being attached to someone who damaged you. You wonder if something's wrong with you. Why can't you just forget them like a normal person? You've tried everything, blocking them on social media, but you still check through friends' accounts. Dating someone new, but you compare everyone to them. Keeping busy, but quiet moments bring them flooding back. Positive thinking, but the obsessive thoughts return stronger. You're exhausted from fighting your own mind. Here's what's actually happening, and once you understand this mechanism, you'll see why every attempt to forget them has failed. Carl Jung discovered something that changes everything about why you can't stop thinking about them. We don't see people as they actually are. We see our projections on them. And when someone carries our projections and then hurts us, we literally cannot let go because they're holding pieces of our psyche hostage. Let me make this real for you. Think about when you first met them. There was something magnetic, right? Something that pulled you in beyond logic. That wasn't love at first sight. That was recognition. Your unconscious recognized something in them, but not something foreign. Something familiar, something that actually belongs to you. This is where the shadow comes in. Your shadow isn't some mystical dark force. It's every part of yourself you've rejected, denied, or pushed away. Maybe you were taught being selfish was bad, so you buried your ability to prioritize yourself. Maybe showing anger meant losing love, so you became perpetually nice. Maybe being vulnerable meant being weak, so you built walls. Now when you meet someone who embodies these buried qualities, the confident one when you're insecure, the carefree one when you're anxious, the powerful one when you feel powerless, something fascinating occurs. You project these aspects onto them. Suddenly they seem to have everything you lack. They complete you because they're literally displaying your missing pieces. But here's where it gets darker. When that person leaves or betrays you, the projected aspects remain attached to them. Think of it like leaving your emotional DNA on someone who's now gone. Every obsessive thought is your unconscious attempting what Jung called projection withdrawal, desperately trying to retrieve these essential parts. Every imaginary conversation you have, you're negotiating with your own shadow for the return of your power, your vulnerability, your authentic self, those revenge fantasies. That's you trying to forcibly extract what belongs to you, the constant replaying of memories. Your mind is searching for the moment it can unhook these vital aspects from them. This explains why willpower doesn't work. You're not dealing with a bad habit or weak character. You're dealing with an autonomous psychological process. Your unconscious will generate these thoughts indefinitely because from its perspective, core parts of your identity are missing. And they'll keep appearing to be over there in that person until you understand they were always in here in you. But if people have hurt you before without creating this obsession, what made this person different? The answer reveals something shocking about who you really are. But wait, people have hurt you before. You've had breakups, betrayals, disappointments. So why this person? Why does this particular human haunt you while others who caused pain barely register? This is where Jung's insight becomes surgical. Not everyone who hurts you creates obsession. Only the ones who mirror your specific shadow configuration at this exact point in your development. They're not special. They're synchronized with what you need to face about yourself right now. Consider what initially drew you to them. If it was their confidence, you've been suppressing your own power, their vulnerability. You've been armoring against your own softness, their freedom. You've been caging your spontaneity, their intelligence. You've been dismissing your own wisdom. Whatever quality made them irresistible is precisely what lives in your shadow, demanding recognition. This next part explains everything. The very qualities that attracted you eventually became weapons against you. Their confidence morphed into arrogance that dismissed you. Their vulnerability transformed into manipulation. Their freedom became carelessness that abandoned you. Their intelligence turned into criticism that diminished you. But here's the profound realization. These aren't random transformations. The shadow always has two faces. What attracts us in its positive form devastates us in its negative expression. And both forms live inside you, waiting for integration. The magnetic pull you felt wasn't chemistry or destiny. It was the gravity of your own unlived life. That person walked into your world wearing your discarded qualities like a costume, and your unconscious immediately recognized its own reflection. Every moment of obsession since is your psyche insisting, that's not theirs to keep, that belongs to us. If they were cruel and it haunts you, examine where you've been cruel to yourself through self-abandonment. If their selfishness tortures your thoughts, investigate where you've been martyring yourself. If their deception plays on loop, explore where you've been lying to yourself about your own needs and nature. And if you think these thoughts feel involuntary, like they're attacking you from outside your control, wait until you discover why your mind literally can't stop generating them. Now let's address why these thoughts feel so involuntary, like they're happening to you rather than being created by you. Jung identified repetition compulsion, the psyche's tendency to replay unresolved material until integration happens. This isn't conscious rumination. This is an autonomous complex running in your psychological background, like a program your conscious mind can't access or delete. The involuntary nature is key. You don't decide to think about them. The thoughts arise spontaneously. During a work meeting, their face appears. While laughing with friends, a memory intrudes. In the shower, an imaginary argument begins. This isn't weakness or choice. It's psychological automation. Sound familiar? That compulsive checking of their social media isn't curiosity. It's your shadow seeking itself. When you analyze their new relationship, you're monitoring whether someone else now carries what's yours. When you decode their last words to you, you're searching for clues about your own rejected nature. Each type of intrusive thought serves a specific function. Revenge fantasies, Your psyche is rehearsing power retrieval, reconciliation dreams. The unconscious is negotiating for wholeness, replaying the betrayal. Your mind is studying the shadow to understand what needs integration, imagining them suffering. You're trying to balance the psychic wound they created by taking your projections with them. The tragedy is that none of these mental simulations work. You can't retrieve projections through thinking. You can't reclaim shadow through fantasy. The mind will run these programs forever, generating endless scenarios, seeking resolution in the wrong direction, outward toward them instead of inward toward integration. The more you resist these thoughts, the more persistent they become. Why? Because resistance confirms to the unconscious that something vital really is missing. Your very fighting against the thoughts validates their importance. The psyche responds by intensifying the obsession, convinced that more mental processing will eventually solve the problem. But for romantic entanglements, there's an even darker psychological force at work, one that Jung said could possess you completely. If this person was a romantic interest, there's an even deeper layer that explains the addictive quality of your obsession. Carl Jung discovered that beyond the shadow, we carry what he called the Anima and Animus. For men, the Anima represents their unconscious feminine nature. For women, the Animus embodies their unconscious masculine qualities. When you project these onto someone, you don't just fall in love, you experience what Jung called possession. This is different from shadow projection. Shadow contains rejected aspects of your conscious personality, but Anima and Animus contain your soul's opposite, the bridge to your depths, creativity and meaning. When someone carries this projection, they don't just complete you psychologically, they complete you spiritually. Here's where this gets interesting. That feeling of soulmate or twin flame, that's not recognizing someone else's soul, it's recognizing your own soul externalized. The ecstasy of the connection comes from finally seeing your inner opposite in living form. The agony of the loss comes from watching your soul walk away in someone else's body. This level of projection creates a different quality of obsession. Every thought about them carries archetypal weight. Dreams become vivid and symbolic. Synchronicities appear everywhere. Their name, their number, signs that feel like the universe is speaking. But the universe isn't talking about them. It's talking about the sacred marriage that needs to happen within you. If you projected your Anima onto her, she became the living carrier of your feeling nature, your relationship to beauty, intuition, and receptivity. Without her, you feel cut off from emotion itself. If you projected your Animus onto him, he became the embodiment of your agency, clarity, and directed power. Without him, you feel unable to act in the world. The thoughts won't stop because this isn't just about retrieving personality aspects. It's about reclaiming your soul's missing half. Until that divine marriage happens internally, between your conscious self and your Anima or Animus, the external obsession continues. They hold the key to rooms in your psyche you didn't know existed until they opened them by carrying your projection. But what if I told you these torturous thoughts aren't your enemy? What if they're actually trying to teach you something that could transform your entire life? But there's something deeper happening with these intrusive thoughts that changes everything once you see it. The obsession isn't punishment, it's instruction. Every triggered memory is highlighting what needs attention. Each emotional charge points directly to shadow material, ready for integration. The thoughts themselves are a curriculum, designed by your unconscious to show you exactly what you've been refusing to see. Make a list of their qualities that generate the strongest emotional response in you. The arrogance that infuriates you. That's your relationship with healthy pride that needs examination. The coldness that devastates you. That's pointing to where you've frozen your own emotional expression. The betrayal that torments you. That's revealing where you've been betraying yourself. The intensity of your emotional reaction is directly proportional to how deeply that quality is buried in your shadow. What triggers you most about them is what you most need to embrace about yourself, not in the toxic way they expressed it, but in its healthy, integrated form. Here's the revelation. They were a perfect teacher because they were a perfect mirror. The unconscious doesn't make mistakes in who it chooses for projection. This person appeared in your life at exactly the moment you were ready to face these shadow aspects. The pain they caused was the psyche's way of making the lesson impossible to ignore. But there's a way out. The torture ends when you stop looking at them and start looking at what they represent. Every obsessive thought is an opportunity to ask, what quality is this thought highlighting? Where does this live in me? How can I consciously integrate this aspect? The shift from torture to teaching happens when you realize they were never the point. They were the projection screen. The movie was always about you. Now I'm going to show you the exact process to end this torture. But warning, this isn't the typical just let go advice that never works. Here's exactly how to stop the obsessive thoughts by doing the actual shadow work. Step 1. Map the projection. Write down their qualities that trigger you most, positive and negative, their arrogance, their freedom, their cruelty, their passion. Don't analyze yet. Just list what creates an emotional charge. These triggering qualities are your shadow's coordinates. Step 2. Locate the shadow. For each quality, complete this sentence. I judge this quality because I'm not allowed to. For example, I judge their selfishness because I'm not allowed to have needs. I judge their confidence because I'm not allowed to take up space. This reveals the shadow's origin story. Step 3. Express the forbidden. Integration requires action, not just understanding. If confidence is in your shadow, speak up in tomorrow's meeting. If selfishness is buried, say no to one request this week. If anger is rejected, express frustration directly instead of smiling through it. Start small, but be consistent. These actions literally integrate the shadow. Step 4. The retrieval ritual. Sit quietly and visualize them holding aspects of your personality like objects. See your confidence as a golden sphere, your vulnerability as flowing water, your power as fire. Now imagine these elements naturally dissolving from their form and returning to you. Don't force it. Let them flow back naturally. Say, what is mine returns to me. What was always mine comes home. Step 5. Track the shift integration has specific markers. The emotional charge when hearing their name decreases. Thoughts about them space out from hourly to daily to weekly. When memories arise, they feel historical rather than current. You stop needing to check on them because genuine disinterest replaces compulsive monitoring. The most profound marker. You'll catch yourself naturally expressing the exact qualities you once saw only in them. That confidence you projected. It emerges in your voice. That freedom you envied. You embody it without thinking. That power you gave them. You wield it consciously. This process isn't about forgiveness or closure with them. It's about completion within yourself. Each integrated shadow aspect makes you more whole, more authentic, more genuinely yourself. The consuming thoughts stop because their purpose is fulfilled. You've received their message and reclaimed what they were showing you. But how do you know if it's actually working? The signs of real integration might surprise you. Here's what changes when integration is actually happening versus when you're just suppressing thoughts. First, the thoughts transform before they disappear. Instead of emotionally charged replays, they become neutral observations. You might remember something they said, But it doesn't spiral into an imaginary argument where you finally confront them with perfect words. Their face might cross your mind, but it doesn't trigger a physical response. Your attraction patterns shift dramatically. The same type of person no longer magnetizes you because you're not seeking someone to carry your projections. You're drawn to wholeness rather than completion. Relationships become about connection rather than unconscious projection exchange. Physical symptoms resolve. That chest tightness when you thought of them, gone. The stomach drop at their name, settled. Sleep returns to normal because your psyche isn't running overtime trying to process unintegrated material. Most significantly, you feel substantially different. Not just over them, but fundamentally more yourself. There's a solidity, a presence, a sense of having reclaimed territory within your own being. You realize you're walking around with qualities you previously only saw in them. Here's what changes. The story transforms completely. Instead of, they hurt me and I can't stop thinking about them, it becomes, they showed me hidden parts of myself I'm now integrating. Instead of victim, you become alchemist. And this transformation ushers a revelation about what was really happening all along. The person tormenting your thoughts isn't your enemy, they're your liberator. Every consuming thought about them is your abandoned self screaming to come home. The real betrayal wasn't what they did, it was what you did, spending years suppressing parts of yourself to be acceptable. They just showed you the evidence. Carl Jung knew the secret. Whoever triggers your deepest fixation carries your greatest power. That magnetism you felt, your own unlived life recognizing itself. That torment since they left, your authentic self rattling its cage. Right now, type the one quality about them you can't stop thinking about. That's not theirs, that's your shadow begging for integration. Drop it in the comments, make the commitment public. And if you're done letting toxic people carry your power, subscribe and hit the bell.